Have you ever felt like life played whack-a-mole with you? That everything you try just goes wrong? Well, buckle up, I've got quite a story for you. Drugs, addictions, solitude, depression and the dash of self-destruction. It is not a proud story, but it's mine. Stick around as I share the roller coaster that led me from the depths of despair to a journey of unicycling, resilience and an unexpected twist. This is the tale of finding a lost spoke in the wheel of life. I want to share this story with you because I know there's many more people out there suffering the same fate as I did, most likely even worse. I want to show you that you can change if you really want to. If you believe in your dreams, but most importantly in yourself, you can achieve anything. Also, there's too much lies on social media anyway, so just a little truth can't hurt, right? It's the year 2020. The world was shut down due to Corona and the life of many people changed forever. I am one of the many people whose life turned upside down in an instant. As I was event technician, the government basically banned my job. From one day to the next, I was left with no work at all, nothing to do. Oh, how much I enjoyed that! In the beginning at least. Finally, I could concentrate on my biggest passion, coding. So much so that I spent 16 hours a day in front of the computer, smoking weed and coding useless algorithms. It was all fun and games. Time passed, day after day, week after week and month after month. The lockdown didn't seem to end. It started to get boring, but there was nothing I could do about it, other than waiting it out. As I was never interested in doing any sport, my body soon began to basically fall apart. From feeling just a little stiff, soon my entire lower back was frozen, stiff as a plank. This further developed into the worst kind of pain I have ever felt. At one point, I couldn't lie down, I couldn't sit, and I couldn't walk. It was just so much pain. This, paired with my unbroken will to continue coding all day, soon led to some sort of burnout. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't concentrate on coding anymore. So I decided to watch YouTube videos, smoke weed all day and do nothing. Just nothing. That honestly wasn't the best of ideas I ever had in my life. Soon my brain shut down too. I felt numb. Well, go figure. How about smoking even more and doing even less? Almost a year has passed since lockdown started, when that slight burnout turned into a full-blown depression as I was vegetating lonely and stoned on my couch. At 28 years of age, this was a bad sign. Maybe it was time to do something about it. Maybe it was time to change something. But what and how? Nothing could motivate my lazy ass to get out and do something about it. I didn't want to do anything about it. I like doing nothing. I am a lazy piece of shit. I would rather end it all. I was in a bad spot in life. Everything has lost meaning at this point. Nothing seemed to make sense anymore. I was in the deepest hole imaginable.
You know, fighting depression, back pain and addiction at the same time is kind of hard. Try not to get yourself into such a situation. It ain't fun.
That's when YouTube decided to recommend Ed Pratt's videos. The guy who unicycled around the entire world. I was blown away. I couldn't believe what I saw. How in the world is it possible to do a notable distance on one wheel? How? I was hooked immediately. Shortly after, I decided to buy my own 26-inch unicycle and just learn it, no matter what. First, in my basement, because I was too anxious about people seeing me and possibly failing. Then I finally managed to get out of the house since the space in my basement was just too limiting to continue unicycling. Finally, I have found something that made me turn off my computer and go out into the real world. Unicycling soon became my new addiction, as it really helped to fix my broken back. For the first time in a few months, I felt somewhat happy again. The feeling of progress and setting new personal bests almost every day I went out was something I didn't feel in a long time. From not being able to get on the unicycle to a few revolutions, to a few meters at a time without falling off, to the first kilometer, I was soon able to do 100 kilometers plus in a single day. I was so darn proud of myself. I always love coming back here because it reminds me of the struggle. It reminds me of me thinking unicycling must be impossible. There's no way you can do that. And look at it. It is possible. Hell yeah. Slowly but surely, the idea of embarking on my very own unicycle adventure started to settle in. If Ed Pratt is able to cycle around the entire world, I am sure able to do something similar. I wanted to prove myself that I can fix myself, that I can achieve something that at this point in time seemed completely impossible to me. From this point on, everything I did served to make this adventure possible. I started getting rid of my stuff, I sold it, I gave it away, I threw it away, and instead bought new stuff that I will need for the trip. And just as I started to see some light at the end of the tunnel, I got sick. It was Corona. Well, of course it was Corona. And oh boy, that hit hard. First, it just felt like the flu, nothing special. Then I completely lost the smell and taste. As if that wasn't enough, it made my body even weaker, to a point where I couldn't stay awake for more than 4 hours at a time. My lungs were fucked now too, not only because of smoking, but also because of Corona. Walking up a flight of stairs felt like a marathon. Additional to that, I couldn't think straight anymore. It all felt foggy, confused, slow, numb. It threw me right back into the depression hole.
We can do it. We can fucking do it. Somehow. Keep fighting, keep fighting, keep fighting.
Was my unicycle adventure over before it even started? I didn't want to accept that. I just could not accept that. So, while my body was too weak to go unicycling, I used this time to build the touring rack. About a month later, some of my strength finally returned. I could unicycle again, and so I started to train for the big trip. The journey of my life. The journey into uncertainty. At this point, it was very clear in my head that I need to leave. The sooner the better. I needed to see something different, see new people, making new friends, improving and restoring my health, physically and mentally. I couldn't stand being in my apartment any longer. As we say in German, the ceiling really started falling on my head. I quit my job and my apartment and set off. So here we are, and there's nothing more left to say than let's hit the road and see what happens. Oh yes, I'm excited. Yeehaw! Off we go! Being the super trained sportsman that I was, the start proved to be extremely difficult. The first 2 weeks of this journey I mostly spent walking, but I didn't care. I knew, with enough patience, my time will come. I kept fighting, I kept trying, until I was able to ride most of the day. Today is a good day, yeah. I started at 9 o'clock, I think. It's now exactly midday, and I've done 17k today. I can finally ride! I was waiting quite a bit for this moment, let me tell ya. My way led me directly out of Switzerland, entering Germany, where I joined the Danube and the EV6. a cycle path that goes all the way through Europe.
It's the Danube, man! It's the Danube!
I soon found myself 500 kilometers away from home, then 1,000, celebrating every single milestone I achieved.
In order to celebrate my new personal best of 83k today so far, maybe it's gonna get more. Got myself some Traubensaft. I don't know how it's called in English. Cheers, bro. Cheers, mates. Cheers, gals. Cheers, guys. Cheers, everyone.
It was by far the hardest endeavor I ever tried, but I wouldn't give up. Day by day I felt better, happier, fitter and more relaxed.
Life is good, man. Oh yeah.
Also, I finally got away from smoking weed and drinking alcohol. In fact, I refused when I was offered to smoke, which happened surprisingly often. It was the best time of my life. I couldn't have done a better step at this point.
Woohoo! I love unicycling, man. It makes me so freaking happy. You can't imagine.
Just after Bratislava, on the cycle path along the Danube, I met a woman. Quickly, we found a lot of mutual connections. It clicked. We decided to travel together until Budapest, where she sadly had to return home to her job. But she couldn't. She was in the very same spot as I was. The ceiling was falling on her head. She needed to leave. So, just a few days after I left Budapest, she drove by car back to Hungary and found my tent right next to the cycle path, where she asked me if we should continue together. It was just too good to be true. It was a dream coming true, although for me it was coming true a little too fast, as I still had to work a lot on myself. But when you get a chance like this, can you really say no? I certainly couldn't. So we decided to continue this journey together. She went back home and achieved in 2 days what took me a full 3 months. She quit her job and apartment, packed her bike and came back to Hungary, where we set off together towards Georgia. It was a love story like from a fairy tale. I still couldn't believe what happened, and quite frankly, I also just didn't realize what was happening. Being together 24/7 is a hard task for anyone, let alone a fresh couple that just met out on the road. But now we traveled together, we stayed together, we did everything together. The unavoidable happened. We started to have smaller and bigger differences. Some differences grew into bigger fights. But somehow we managed to keep it all together. On quite a few separate occasions, one or the other decided that it was time to go on our own way again. But we never managed to do so. We couldn't really go on together, but we also didn't want to go on our own. It started to affect both our mental health. It really was a mutually challenging relationship. But we kept going until we reached Georgia, where we finally decided that we want to travel on our own again, at least for a bit.
We might be teaming up later. Someone. As for now, we both go our own way through Georgia.
Said you needed a break and left with no heads up. I was strong for your sake, but it made my heart drop. 'Cause it's always been you and I. Give me one more try. This is messing with my mind. Not gonna lie, but I'll give you the space so you can figure this out. I've been losing sleep and it won't get better. I can't get my mind off of you. Days go by and I can't help but wonder if you think about me too. Don't you just hate it, being away from someone you just wanna hold on to? It's driving me crazy, tired of waiting. I really hate being away from you.
We cycled all through Georgia on our own, where eventually, in Gori, we decided to meet again and cycle together to Tbilisi. Winter was closing in, temperatures dropped, and we both didn't really know what to do. Our bodies were exhausted, everything was dirty and stinking, and it was time to calm down and think about the future. During this winter break, the seemingly unavoidable happened. We completely broke out in fights until she decided that it was time to leave me for good. I was shattered. I didn't understand what has happened. I could never classify my feelings for her in the slightest. I was still very much busy with my own depressions and self-development. It was all just too much for me. She really tried to help me, but apparently I wasn't ready to accept help yet. You only realize what you had when you're missing it. That's when I realized what my feelings were. But it was too late. I fucked up. The perfect love story gone. Not perfect at all. In hindsight, despite the relationship not working, I am eternally grateful to have met her, since she taught me one of the most important lessons of my life. She showed me where my biggest weaknesses are and how to fix them. She taught me what I didn't learn in 30 years. In short, she taught me how to be human. Spring arrived. It was time to continue. I booked a flight to Kazakhstan. I gotta admit, this feels a little strange. It's the first time my unicycle is packed in 3 months. It's been a long time here. It feels a little bit strange leaving this place. Really makes me wonder what will be coming up next. The geopolitical situation at this time sadly left me with no choice other than taking a plane. Hesitant and kind of scared, I left the Black Sea. I wasn't touring on my own for a long time, and now I'm about to head into the desert. It didn't feel right, but I had the dream of unicycling through Kazakhstan ever since I started planning this trip. After a week in Tbilisi, I took the plane to Akdam, prepared myself and the unicycle and set off into the desert towards Bishkek. As usual, the start of such a journey is quite difficult, as it takes a while for the body to get used to the rhythm of touring. Nonetheless, it felt so good to be back on the road again, feeling the unlimited freedom, experiencing yet another culture and especially the nature. But Murphy had other plans. So he's gonna take me for 10 kilometers up on the hill. That's where I'm gonna camp for tonight, because my back is done for today and possibly for tomorrow as well. I'm gonna see how it turns out. Спасибо, Мири. Спасибо.
Не за что.
It is time to give up. It is time to acknowledge that my back is not strong enough for a touring unicycle. I cannot ride like that. Well, I can ride, but I can't mount. It just hurts too bad. So, I'm a hitchhiker now. Yeah, for now, I'm gonna stay here tonight, enjoy the views over the big hole, and continue tomorrow as a hitchhiker. Strange, isn't it? I started to unicycle because of my back. It worked out. Unicycling really helps with back pain, but that's just to a certain degree, you know. Once your unicycle is like 30-35 kilograms. So if you suffer from back pain, especially lower back pain, unicycling really helps. Try it. It's fun. But don't overdo it like I did. The decision was made. My unicycle has been degraded to a rolling suitcase. The people were really confused now. Not only because I was missing a wheel, but also because I couldn't even ride it. It was quite embarrassing, to be honest. On my entire journey, I have never encountered such lovely folks as the Kazakhs. You can really feel that the less people possess, the more human they get. Everyone tries to help everyone, and everyone is friendly. It seems that people in Europe are so extremely spoiled that I can't find joy in anything anymore, and therefore always want more and more and more and more, just to get the next dopamine kick. It's nothing other than an addiction, really. We in the West can really learn something from them. Calm down, people. Be satisfied with what you have. You've got more than enough to be happy. In the meantime, I made my way up to Binyu, shortly before the Uzbek border, where I had to make the decision which way to take. There are only two choices: continue through Kazakhstan or going through Uzbekistan. As luck would have it, I met two other cyclists in Binu, Adel and Emmerich. Both are from France, going to Bishkek, taking the Uzbek route. I asked if I may join them on their way, but I needed help since I couldn't free mount anymore. They kindly agreed, and so we set off towards Uzbekistan. We started at 4 p.m. and so we only did about 50 kilometers that day. It was very enjoyable to have some company again, someone to talk to and laugh with. Just before dark, we set up camp in the middle of nowhere. Sadly, it was already very clear that we couldn't continue together, since I was simply too slow and limited with a unicycle. We separated in the morning. And see ya! It was nice to meet you.
You, man.
Have a good ride.
Thank you, bro. You too.
Thank you. See you soon. And I continued to hitchhike. I crossed the border into Uzbekistan, where I quickly realized that I couldn't have unicycled even if I didn't have back pain. I have never seen roads in such a bad condition before. So if anyone is up for a challenge, try unicycling through Uzbekistan. Just about 300 meters after entering Uzbekistan, the first car stopped and offered a ride. I happily accepted. A few hours and several hundred kilometers later, we arrived in Kungirot, where I stayed for the night before continuing towards Muynak. That's an old fisher's town at the shoreline of Lake Aral, or rather, where the Lake Aral used to be. Now, there's only some boats corroding in the desert. I met yet another group of travelers, Mide, Kevin and Fritz, who were on their way on motorbikes. They invited me to join a tour to the actual shoreline of Lake Aral, which I certainly couldn't refuse to join. The shoreline nowadays is almost 100 kilometers away from where it used to be. It's unbelievable just how much water is missing there and how polluted the remaining water is. It's really not the place for a beach vacation. Quite impressive, isn't it? 3 hours of riding through the desert to reach what's left over of the Aral Sea. It was on this very point where my heart told me what to do next. I decided that it was time for me to turn around and go back to Europe. If I went farther towards east, I'd run into a dead end anyway, and hitchhiking honestly wasn't all that much fun. I posted about my change in plans on Instagram and immediately was contacted by Sylvain, a crazy French guy who lives in Estonia. He was also about to start his very own unicycle adventure all the way from France up to Estonia. He kindly offered me his flat in Tallinn to stay and prepare for my last leg through Europe. Thank you again, Sylvain. That really was the glimpse of hope and help I needed in this very moment. Really appreciate it. A few days later, I hitchhiked back to Aktau. Packed my unicycle again and flew back to Europe. So, welcome to Tallinn. It's time to unpack the unicycle and see if it survived on these 3 flights from Aktau to Istanbul to Riga to Tallinn. Alright. Unicycle is like new. Almost. Need to pump it up, and then we're ready to roll. I already considered my journey to be a complete failure, but I continued nonetheless. At least here in Europe I found some poles and fences that enabled me to mount the unicycle. So I set off towards home. About 4,000 kilometers to go, going from Tallinn to Rotterdam and then back home. I kept trying, I kept fighting, and I kept riding. Country after country, all through the Baltics and Poland, entering Germany in the very northeast. Ever since I started the trip, it was my dream to at least spend a few days riding with another unicyclist. Since I was so new to the sport, I didn't know any other unicyclists, but I knew Silvan, and we were riding directly towards each other. As we were about 400 kilometers apart from each other, his plans changed. He wanted to attend a festival in Austria and continue from there, and I wanted to ride with another unicyclist. So I followed my heart, and for the second time I skipped a section. We both took a train and met in Linz. After a good festival in Linz, and an even better after party, we set off together towards Vienna. We have a dead man walking. About 200 kilometers to go, all along the EV6, the cycle path along the Danube, the same cycle path I rode in the beginning of my trip. I couldn't have imagined a better ending for my unicycle trip. Sharing the road with a guy who is at least as crazy as I am. Well, almost as crazy as I am.
Yeah, boy, let's go! Ooh la la la! Ooh la 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 la! Ooh la 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 la!
Incredible. We're closing in onto Vienna. Right, 6 o'clock or something. Last time packing the tent in Austria. What a shame. Rain's forecasted for the entire day, so we better get going and find a cafe until it starts to rain. 26k to go, and it's done. What a shame, what a shame. Slowly but surely it settles in that this journey of a lifetime might come to an end now. Sadly already in Vienna. Yeah, made it just in time to Vienna. It started to rain. Cheers, mate. Cheers, bro.
We have like the awkward stuff that we say goodbye and say a word and we turn the same way.
Yeah.
Ciao, baby!
We separated our ways. He continued towards Poland and I took a train back to Lake Constance. 100 kilometers before home. Okay, back in Bregenz, and it is stupid o'clock. And I have about 10 kilometers to leave the town and find a camp spot. Well, good morning. So surprisingly, no one sent me away. It's quite a peaceful campsite actually. It's a very good night. So, plan for today. It's gonna be a long day, a big day. I'm still at Lake Constance. I'm gonna meet up with a friend. We're gonna have breakfast until, I don't know. After that, I will, depending on the weather, I guess, set off on my last leg towards Hur. Rain has started. Oh, this looks elegant. Oh, my unicorn. Getting close to home. The sun comes out. Oh, yeah, boy! Go, Brendan! Welcome home! Woo-hoo! 7.5K through Europe, baby! Coming back home! 16 to go until my friend's place. Oh yeah, baby! Nice day! Nice day! On one wheel, I conquered almost 2 continents, tackled 3 mountain ranges, explored 21 countries and covered almost 8,000 kilometers under my own power. But most importantly, I found countless new friends, without which I would have never made it. It was 18 months filled with adventures, challenges, excitement, exhaustion, love, drama, sadness and action. It was an experience of a lifetime, a lesson for life. In hindsight, I can confidently say this journey was a lot, but certainly not a complete failure. Okay, strange feeling, last touring day ever. So let's do it! I can only encourage you, if you don't feel happy, if you feel something's not quite right, change yourself, do something, risk something, jump over your own fucking shadow, and believe in yourself, and believe in your dreams. Because when you believe in your dreams, you can do fucking anything. And now, there I was again, back from where I started. I arrived, but I wasn't home anymore. In fact, I felt like I'm in the wrong place. All the mountains surrounding me suddenly felt like a bird cage. The door is open, but I couldn't fly away. What I initially expected to be a warm welcome back home turned out to be just horrible. I wanted this journey to be my therapy. Getting out of my used environment, getting out of the bad habits, getting my addictions and laziness under control. But now I was back. Nothing has changed. Everything was still the same, and the worst thing possible immediately happened. I got back into the old bad habits. Drugs, doing nothing, being a lazy piece of shit, including severe depression. I realized this really isn't my home anymore. I can't stay here any longer. I need a new life, a new purpose. What I learned for sure is that my body can't take the stress of unicycle touring anymore. I had to switch to a bicycle. Now, this might have been a really dark story, and I don't ever want to tell such a dark story ever again. But let me share a secret with you, my friends. Only in the deepest darkness you will see the real light. When you think your patience and motivation has reached its limits and your life seems to end, it is not about death at all. It is about ascending into a new kind of life. And now, my friends, I welcome you to a new journey. A journey not into uncertainty, but into a fresh start, a new purpose. I will not give up until I found a new life somewhere. I am open for anything, anytime, anywhere, and with anyone. I am 100% sure that I can achieve a happy, healthy life somewhere on this planet. And so can you. Be my guest, my travel partner, my friend, viewer, or even supporter as we embark on this journey to finding the inner self, the peace of mind, and the new life. Come and find the lost spoke with me. That was a fly. Alright, that's it for now. Until next time, thanks for watching. Keep trying, keep fighting, and keep riding. See ya.